Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Hooked Gamer here. We're back with Anno 1800. Guys, there is a bit of a development, so I am so disappointed. Anyway, in between the episodes, since we last saw each other, I've placed the motor assembly line because that's what's needed for the ships. Now, I've placed an order for a cargo ship. However, this needs electricity. So, okay. Now, this wouldn't be an issue until I found out that let me just show you, the harbor city, this guy here, the power plant placed on water just doesn't work. So I can place it whatever I want, it just doesn't work. So let me just show you that in a moment. So that's a shame. I don't know what causes this to be like that, but there you go. I suppose we just need to move on. So then I had to place this guy. The only thing is that this guy doesn't reach this far, so he only goes as far as up here. So we'll see. Anyway, so that's really what's going on. I am in the meantime selling really everything else that we can. So I'm kind of getting rid of really a lot of different things. So let's say getting rid of the this, and something else. And milk, I think. Yeah, so whatever we can get rid of, I'm getting rid of, basically. That's the idea here. I think we're doing pretty okay for most of the things. Now I'm signing the ceasefire. Look at this again. I don't know what's this causing. Oh, yes. So Margaret is coming here sometimes, and, she's passing. She's being naughty. So we were able to defeat one of the little ships, and there you go. We got something like this. I don't know why would you even use that. I mean, this is quite... You would need to be really, really desperate. So some of the items are really kind of pointless. But there you go. Anyway, the focus is here, so let me just... Wait a moment. This was not working, I swear. Okay, this was not working when I've placed it, so I don't know what you guys did, but it's working. Okay, so that's good. I swear I've placed it, it was not working. I don't know. Anyway, maybe the order matters, or maybe the fact that I've reloaded the game. I don't know. It just wasn't working. I was so disappointed. That's why I had this place, so that's a proof. Okay, it's not just me. Anyway, so let's just take a look. And the item search continues because, look, as we cease fire, that's fine, but I do want to make sure that, obviously we're not being attacked by others. So not a whole pile is going on. There's no point reviewing any further because that's it. So this guy now is arriving between the regions, so that's pretty good. Now I just want to make sure. Okay, he also is bringing coal just in case, and then that's it. Yeah, perfect. Okay. And then whatever else we have in the new world.
Good and ready.
Now, I could give them an item just to make him a bit faster, but look, the money isn't the best. So that's why we're just selling everything that we can. So as you can see, this guy just goes back and forth with different things. Now, probably tools I should have a minimum stock off of. So let's just block. Everything else seems okay. Now, okay, so this should give us a bit more money towards...
A competitor raised a settlement.
Towards the balance, but also we should work towards the spectacles. And then we'll need electricity once we start upgrading the, the people. So I think my thinking is just to continue as far as we get to, where we actually have a healthy balance, right? Because for the moment, that's, it's not so healthy. And then we can get the different things going. The military complex needs ammunition, so there's really no point
has ended.
Building it. Yeah, I might really cannot wait for the normal ships. So might as well just continue and make them. Now look at this, right? So there are other things available, other ships available. So we definitely want to get the salvagers. So the, you know, the storyline continues, I suppose. So let's just go ahead and do it. And look, there's an ocean liner. So I don't know what this is for. Is this for like the tourists or what is it? But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Now we got small battle cruiser. Now obviously this is going to... Okay, because of the festival, the everything was reduced. I see. Okay, well, that's not too bad. Okay, we want to go back and redo this.
You're
Now,
right.
thankfully,
We
they're
need
really
some
not
perspective.
wanting a lot of money, so that's pretty good. See, he wants 170,000, so we cannot afford it.
Don't drool over me.
Look at, in comparison, we're not doing that very good. Margaret is behind of these two guys. Okay, so let's take a look at spectacles. What's needed? We kind of have everything. Yeah, so we'll just need glass. Okay, so I can go and do glass. Now, let's just see. Okay, we can actually place it over here. It's gonna be working. The only thing is I don't need that much glass, I think.
Look sharp, the governor's here.
But I suppose it just makes sense. Because we've got a lot of different things going on. Okay, and perhaps if I'll just grab one of this. Like over here. Because this is affected as well, yeah. Okay, so that's pretty good. I've placed these because Margaret was here trying to do something and annoy us. So that ain't gonna happen. So I just realized the cables aren't really needed for construction, right? They're only needed for constructing, unless there will be some construction of cables required. But for the moment, yeah, not so much. Now we can go ahead and upgrade some of these guys, and I definitely want to make sure that we've got clothes, because that will affect the balance. Oh, we need to import for coats, for glasses. Okay, we will. But for the moment, I think I would like to focus on what we actually need rather than what would be good to have, if that makes sense. Right, okay, so this one here, let's take a quick look. We're not doing that very well with things. So soap is okay. Yeah, it's okay, it's not great.
Ship constructed.
I mean, I could go for water. I don't know. It's actually so hard to decide which to sell. But anyway, there you go. First ship. Hey. Now, this ship, though, will be... Because they go by... Yeah, they go with... They're not affected by weather, right? So it's always 10.
Bring her around.
Which should we do? Okay, I think I'm just gonna bring him to the old world, because as you may remember, in the last episode, what we were doing is we were delivering things to this region here, King's Grove, right? So I'd like to continue that. It's just because I'd like to start doing things on this island. So I think it would make sense for us to grab like a wood production and things like that. And just general production, I suppose. Because we've most of things unlocked building wise, so it'll be just a matter of you know, adding them, blueprinting them really, and then building them from there. The only thing I find challenging with that is you don't necessarily know you know, the layout of everything, and I can well, maybe you guys do, but I cannot remember every single building that is to come. And what else have mods changed or introduced? What's going on here? Ah.
A competitor's island is under siege.
Probably this guy will get destroyed. That was strange. Okay, so that ship is gone, so that's good. He's just leaving, as you can see. This guy is just arriving. Now the problem is that Margaret has her ships on this stretch. So this guy is just coming in, but yeah, there you go. See, she's got this going. It's not a good one. But what can we do? One of our buildings. Aha, Margaret has arrived. Okay. So it appears to me that we may lose this. But let's just place these quick. Right, and I'll place. Okay. So that's a workaround, I suppose. Not for too long. But this guy just vanished. Like, he's so fast. Holy smokes. Okay, so I think I want to do this on every island. I've discovered that previously, and now, yeah, I kind of want to use it because it does buy us time. Okay, why is this so low? Holy crap.
Life here is rather static.
We're out of rum, we're out of beer, we're out of everything. Okay. So that's why this region would be so important, because like the production of drink, production of everything would be really, really good. And I really want to do everything as well, right? Like this and whatever, and so we can start delivering things and make good money. That's really the goal. Though we'll definitely need another island or two. Especially I was looking at... no. I was looking at this island actually, because this island has 9... well, it's open cast, but it's basically clay. So it'll be really good to have. And it's really in our quadrant here. And because it's Margaret, it'll be easy to just invade and take it. Well, easy in a way that because it's all mines, so won't be that easy. Anyway, so what I would like to do perhaps, guys, let's just jump into like a time lapse, and I'm going to just build as many as I can of everything, and perhaps be mindful of what we need in future and whatnot, right? Because that'll be important, and then we'll go from there. Welcome to our first somewhat sped up playthrough. I suppose it's slightly slower down because there were quite a few many things that were happening throughout as I was building. So I'm not doing this at maximum speed. What I wanted to do here is utilize every bit possible on this island. I don't know. I actually did think that this island is exactly the same as the one that we used to utilize in the previous playthrough. Shape-wise, it definitely looks that way, but somehow it feels different. So maybe it has changed. I'm not quite sure. I have forgotten, to be quite honest, that you know, I suppose I've reviewed all the mods and everything, okay, but I have forgotten what they really are introducing into the game when you install them. And that is the reason behind it is because there are 200 of them, okay, so simply you cannot remember every single one of them. So until you actually start playing, you don't really quite know, how it's going to affect, etc. Now there are some bugs as well, some things that let's say you only find out while you're playing, okay, because you never played it before. And as well as that, the mods are being updated quite regularly, and I do keep on top of them as well. And I sometimes would reach out to the guys on Discord to ask, is this meant to be happening or whatever, just to be sure that I'm perhaps not doing something wrong, or why is it not working. I also noticed, even from the previous playthrough, that some of the mods, let's say, don't work in another region or with another mod. So there's a lot of that as well. Probably for me it's a bit harder as well because of the fact that I'm using so many of them, so it's hard to figure out which one is affecting the other and whatnot. But look, it is what it is. We are for the moment, there doesn't seem to be too many things going on of that kind that affects the playthrough in any way. We'll see how it's how it will be once we progress towards the tourists and all that jazz. For the moment, it seems fine. Now, I think also I'm not gonna lie, okay? So I struggle with that in a way that I don't really know what the mods do, because of, look, the description is one and it looks fine on the website, but once you actually start playing, it may have a different effect on actually the game and your experience with the game. That's what it is, since you've remembered it last. It's different when you play it all the time, which, I haven't played in months, let's be honest. Okay, so the reason I say this, okay, is because I forgot some of the things do require something else and whatever. So like these industrial buildings for the wood, whatever they're called, they require actually power, etc. Okay, so those things you I've forgotten about. So I will fix this later on. I also do think that we'll need more islands. It's just because I think the amount of different things that I have installed is really quite large, so this island will just simply not fit everything. There's just no hope. So I definitely will probably end up having maybe 3 islands in total. I was thinking maybe to have one for like the kind of military stuff, the other one maybe for like the tourists, and once we get into all of that stuff, the music, then whatever. Because those buildings are massive, let's be honest, and you always need loads of them. So I think that itself will require an island. Then another island would be needed just for like a farming thing, especially if I get into, like the grain and whatever. These just take massive amount of space. As well as that, I kind of like it, but I wanted to make it as hard as possible on myself. So you notice me placing those trade unions. They have these are the vanilla ones, okay? I haven't upgraded them with any mod. Previously, we had the ones that were affecting the entire island. We had the tiny little trade unions that you could fit in every little corner. So those are no longer the thing here. And I think I kind of miss them, quite honestly. Let's be honest about it. However, as I said, I do want to kind of keep some of the original parts of the game, right? Because the mods really have changed the playthrough quite significantly. Let's be honest about it. You know, the different classes of people that were introduced and whatnot. Anyway, as you can see here, back and forth, we're being destroyed, we're struggling. So I really want to kind of get a move on things and get into ships and a bit of fighting. I notice even yourselves, guys, you kind of like when there's a bit of action going on. Who doesn't like a bit of action, I suppose? So that's what it is. So I'm not surprised there at all. Yeah, and honestly, I'll be honest with you, okay? So I like the challenge, but sometimes, and I actually felt here quite overwhelmed because, I mean, there's a lot of things here, right? Like let's be honest, the amount of like tools and ropes and this and the other. And so I think that some of the mods, if you are installing them yourself, maybe skip and only do it maybe if on a save, let's say that you've everything, you know, you don't start from beginning with that amount, because this would be so overwhelming. You know, because you have there's a war happening, you have your quests, you have your this, you have your the other, and then the balance, this is missing, not enough of this, there's a riot, there is a fire, you know, all of these things really do add up. So if you're I don't want to say less experience, because, well, obviously experience has a lot to do with it, but I suppose if you don't want to be struggling from the very second you launch the game, right? You kind of want to have it progressed a bit, and then you can definitely, because it changes so many things, and the vegetables, the whatever, and this and the other. So yeah, I think if I was to play this again, you know, like stop to like now today and play it from scratch, it would have gotten, you know, I would have been much faster with the development and everything, because you're familiar with things, right? You don't need to go back and forth and whatever. So I suppose what I'm trying to say here is that I think I regret a bit jumping into King's Grove. I think the reason I did it was because of all the notifications. Well, this and the other settled, and you know, you haven't really went anywhere, and they're settling the entire thing. So the fact that the AI and the NPCs are progressing so fast, yeah, kind of stresses me out. Now, the good thing is that I have to say that because they're fighting between themselves, that really helps. Yeah, I do feel that way. Whereas before, they used to attack us all the time. Yeah. And now they're kind of engaging between themselves, leaving us kind of to ourselves. Now, there are small attempts here and there, but nothing too crazy. Anyway, so another thing is that we need to deliver things back and forth. As you can see, I'm not building anything of the small caliber. It's all the big stuff. So that's challenging as well, because these are kind of late buildings, if you will, late game buildings. So they require power, they require everything. You can't have them without it. I mean, you can, but they won't work. So what's the point? So that in itself is, I suppose, a challenge, because you either have to have multiple, either coal power plants or oil power plants. That requires then a lot of engineers, which we don't have in this region. So it's like a chain effect, right? As we know. Anyway, so what I'm doing here is just to add the modules to our good old docks. Now, there's a change implemented. I don't want to spoil it, but there's a change implemented how the docks work, which I was able to find out by kind of, I don't want to say mistake, but by chance, because I've just built one. Just to build it, you know, there was no need. So I built one of the piers, and I think one of the loading wharfs. And there is a thing introduced now that they actually require workforce. First of all, it's only like 5 or 10 people, whatever, so that's not too bad. But actually they require items. So the pier requires ropes, and the crane requires tools, and the loading wharf as well. I think it's either ropes or tools, either of those. So that was a bit of surprise when I saw it. I think that, yeah, it was pretty, I mean, it makes sense, right? Because obviously, you know, things needs to be pulled off of a ship and whatever, and, you know, like a crane would have a crane, you know, that works with ropes as well, right? Like there's some sort of a system. So it does make sense when you think of it. But again, if you are not kind of later in the game, you have the balance sorted out, which we do not, because we're constantly need to sell things to make up for the losses we're doing or we're having, and yeah, that puts you on the back foot all the time, right? So yeah, that's where the challenge comes from. So I was really getting stressed out when I was doing this. So to be very honest with you, I am happy. I'm very happy that the original audio here is not coming through, because yeah, there were words used that probably would have me banned from YouTube. But no, jokes aside, it's good, it's challenging, but yeah, when you're kind of facing it for the first time, you're like, what's going on? But yeah, so that's what we're doing. These buildings are massive, I gotta say. So the small trade unions don't really cover loads of it, and as you can see, they're kind of in between things. So once I get the items, it'll be difficult, I think, to find the proper items for everything, right? I saw guys on Reddit, well, not Reddit, but what's the other thing? Discord. They were saying, oh, Ferris is the king. And yes, he is, because he affects every single building. But, you know, there are specific buildings just for a particular thing, and they don't cover everything else. So I kind of do miss the small little trade unions, or the trade unions that actually affect the entire island. But there you go. Decisions has been made. But maybe if you want to, I don't know if you're like me, if you're even using them. I think that they're, I don't want to say they're a must, but like it's very difficult without them. Especially if you're striving perhaps for a very healthy economy, which I do tend to do. You know, I like to have my balance high, and you know, kind of don't worry about it. And even if there's a bit of a hiccup here and there, you really don't care. You know what's going to happen because you've loads of money, like so. Like in real life, right? Like I wouldn't know anyway, but you know what I'm talking about. I suppose people, yeah, that's just the way it is. Anyway, so let's leave that subject, because I definitely am no expert. But what I was thinking to myself here, that I definitely should have plenty of the fire brigade thingies, or fire stations, and warehouses, right? Because they're massive buildings, and I really have quite a few placed. But then I don't know if this is enough. Probably I won't be making all of the steel ones, or if I will have them deleted at some point, because they seem to be just massive. So I've placed these. Now these are the industrial sized. To be honest, I wasn't expecting them to be this big. And as well as that, there won't be enough, I can tell you that now. We'll be adding it. So what I'm trying to do, and that goes really for kind of most of things, because I now know that the trade unions aren't going to be covering really anything, to be honest. They're just an addition. I can probably have them all over the islands, really. So it doesn't really matter where I place them. So you might have just noticed that I've accepted Vicente's quest, and this will give us a bit more money. It's pretty easy to do. It's just a matter of delivering gold and copper to him. he seems to be asking for it quite regularly, so it's, yeah, I'm pretty happy because it's quite a bit of money, and what I'm really after here is his influence, right? So that's really what it is, or diplomacy points, whatever you want to call it. Anyway, so that's what we're doing. I think that having this blueprinted will help us, obviously, not now, because we're not ready. We're not ready money-wise. We're not ready, you know, when it comes to the people, because you need much more engineers and artisans and all of those. So that's definitely not something that we're ready for, but it will gonna help us. So this is gonna be gotten ready, blueprinted, and ready to rock. And once we get to a point where we've got enough money, you know, everything is kind of unlocked, I suppose, we can start switching to this island. Now, don't also forget that we need a lot of building materials, right? So we need to start switching on things like the bricks, the windows, the whatever, and then slowly, once we have everything built, because I don't want to be back and forth, you know, sending balloons and ships as I'm doing it now, with like, you know, whatever is needed, basically. I just want everything to be produced on this island, and then start turning it on, making ships and sending them off with stuff all over the world. So that's really the idea here. For the moment, obviously, we can't produce anything here because that will just ruin us financially. So I'm just back and forth, you know, delivering things, really. Now, at some point as well, I would want to have all the quests that we were just seeing on the left completed, if that's possible. Definitely, you know, Land of the Lions is something that I'm really focusing on. I suppose in my head, at least, because we do want to get things going for the flag. The flag is very hard to come by. I've actually been re-rolling even off screen. It's just not a thing. I do have a feeling that it's not available until investors, but I somehow remember vividly that it was before, because I think in the last playthrough I was delivering rum, and rum is, you know, available quite early. So it's quite strange that it's not here. So again, this makes me think that either we're unlucky, or maybe the mod changed it, or maybe the difficulty level changed this. I'm not quite sure. So all of this, it adds up, let's be honest. So yeah, that's what's going on. But I do want to say, and I do appreciate your comments. You guys very easy on me, I gotta say. You know, there's plenty likes always under the videos, so I really do like that. I don't know if, yeah, I don't know, but I do appreciate it. That kind of gives me a bit of a boost, I suppose, you know, just to keep going, because sometimes when you play, you're like, oh god, this isn't working again, you know, and you get, you know, peed off, and you're like, oh, you know, let's abandon the ship. But yeah, no, I keep playing. I'm keep at it. I don't like giving up. Anyway, so I am sending the ship to Vicente. I think he needs to go kind of back and forth, because look what's going on. We're being attacked. So yep, and ceasefire isn't available with herself, so that's what we're dealing with. Now the money is fixed because of the paper, so I'm pretty happy with that. That kind of gives us a bit of a breather on that front, so I can now focus instead of looking, because I was actually looking at the, you know, the bar being red, or the balance being red all the time, and yeah, you know, I don't like when that's happening. So that's now resolved. Even though we were making money through sales, right, to Old Nate, it's still, you feel like you're failing it, because, you know, the money's red. But yeah. Anyway, so I'm placing the work clothes factories. I actually don't know how many is needed. So that's a bit of a bummer here because I think this has to do with my decision of switching over to an industrial island so early. Normally I would build few and turn them on so I could see, you know, what's the progress and whatever, but now I can't because of what we're doing. So yeah, that's what it is. It's just all blueprinted, and the approach here is kind of build as many as you can and hope for the best. But no, I was trying to leave as much room for other things as well. But yeah, you can now see definitely more islands are needed. There's just no way that this island will be able to hold everything. There's just so many things. It's actually quite crazy. Anyway, so I'm continuing the addition of the warehouses and stations. Definitely stations will be upgraded because of the industrial size of those buildings. I think they're more prone to explosions, fires, and so on. So this island could be, and I think as well, wasn't this part of the difficulty level that those events are more frequent? So this island could be on fire every 2 minutes. So I suppose we'll see. I'm happy that the ceasefire is so cheap. So that's really, yeah, it's really helping. You know, even when it kind of gets my mind off of that, at least, right? That we're not constantly being sought for on the open seas and the ships being destroyed and whatever. And Margaret is as bad as it is, and she'll be a bit of a nuisance later on as well, I'm sure. Anyway, so I'm looking at all those big buildings now. They are the same size, which I suppose it does help. What doesn't help is that they're so big. No, they're massive. But yeah. Now, I don't know if you've noticed, you probably have, but I completely forgot about power requirements on that island. So I am going to address that. But for the moment, let's just get some of the materials going. And also, let's not forget that this island will need one of the administration buildings, you know, the part of the palace thing. And there's another flyby or drive-by here. Yeah, and I think that because we haven't built a ship in forever, and we only have 4 ships of the line, or first race, or whatever they're called. And yeah, so if anyone attacks us, we're quite done for. Not gonna lie. So the workaround with, you know, placing the blueprinted weapons is really, I don't know if this is gonna change. I hope not, because that's helping with the way I play. Yeah, because I wouldn't be rushing into it. I don't know even how can you, unless you'd, I think the way to do this would be, and hear me out, would be to, and I think some of you had said it, the beer really does help. Although I looked, and I think, is it artisans? They only pay like 20 coins for beer, so that's not that much. So unless you build, and I know there's other guys do it, you know, thousands and thousands of workers and whatever, and then supply them fully, then yes, you would make money for sure. I suppose I have a different approach, and I like to progress it and only keep the minimum requirement or the minimum numbers of workers and whatever. Only have a bit of a surplus, I suppose, of like 1,000 or maybe like now 2,000, but not having like 20,000 farmers. You know, that kind of sounds a bit weird to me. But I know it does work if you have, you know, so basically to go into numbers rather than upgrades and making money out of the class, but others seem to be making money out of the number of people and the goods that they supply, right? Because beer is really easy to make, I think, whereas the watches or whatever, all of that really takes so many different resources, so many islands are involved and whatnot. Okay, so this is really coming together, I feel. Definitely those little trade unions are often in the way, so as you can see, I have to work around them. The location of them often cannot be changed, so I've no other choice apart from just twisting buildings left and right to make sure that they fit. And also because of the administration building, remember that they have to also be connected, right? So they cannot not be connected to the road. So road needs to be there, and that's another restriction. If you had the mod that would introduce either bigger radius or have them affect the entire island, you can really, you have really much more freedom where they're placed. So you can see me switching back and forth because, I really find them. I don't want to say you're kind of disappointed. So the way you have your like tall ships and the sailing ships, right? And they're slow because they're affected by the wind. If they go with the wind, obviously they're fast. But then you're like, oh yeah, you're anticipating the steamships because they're much faster, but they're really like not. So you're like, what's going on? Anyway, so I'm making now the shoes. I know the shoe factory, if you will, is kind of to be a city building, but I decided to have it here. We can have a couple of them in the city just to make it look pretty, but apart from that, I'm just gonna make everything on one island. Otherwise you end up delivering like raw goods, whatever, to islands instead of making them here. So ceasefire continues. With ceasefire, as you know, we get additional 8 diplomacy points towards our relations. And because we are now, I suppose at some point we'll get quite high, and we will be, I think we may at some point request, I don't want to say alliance, maybe that's a bit too far. But maybe even a peace, and we could see what items that they have, or trade rather, and see what items they have, and we can buy some things and for the ships once we start making them. So that'll be quite good. So what I'm doing now is I'm placing all the bakeries and whatnot, and look, there's another variation, right? There's the olive bread. So I try to have a bit of everything because I know that I would want to have it anyway. At some point. I remember I used to be like, oh, let's just, skip the little things like the pigs and whatever. I actually, this playthrough as well, because I always use the docklands for deliveries. This playthrough as well, I've decided that I'll be making everything, and the docklands will only be used for things that we either cannot make, or let's say we're lacking off, so like let's say limestone. I don't want to have an entire island taken just for limestone if we're only missing, let's say, 3 tons or something, that kind of a thing. So it's just a supplementary rather than an actual be reliant on it. Okie doke. So we are progressing with things. As far as the delivery goes, I'm trying to avoid good old Margaret, because otherwise the ship will get destroyed. I like the fact that you can bring it to the edge and then send it over to even another region, and it's he goes outside and then we're being left alone. So that's pretty good. That is pretty good indeed. Now, what's going on here? Ah, yes. So I'm just reviewing, okay, if there's a better route to see, you know, if perhaps Margaret will leave us alone, but there doesn't seem to be, because you're in between the islands. I'm looking for the flag frantically, but none can be found. Okay, guys, and we're back with the industrial island. I struggled with it, as you could have seen. I suppose it's not the easiest because of the buildings being quite big. However, this is what it is. Now we're okay for money for now because of obviously the you know, the newspaper. However, we need to get going with things. Now I haven't placed a lot of different things
Your
still.
harbor is under attack.
What is going on? We're constantly under attack. Oh, okay. What's going on here? Recently damaged. Okay, that's fine. Yeah, so it's just Margaret being Margaret, I suppose. But yeah, we have to get going with oil. The reason being is that, you know, this is 1,000 more, right? But we will get them going anyhow. And I'll just let me see. So we've got a lot of glass. I'm not making glasses though. So let me just place that real quick. We should have, yeah, so brass is there. Okay. Now glass. I think we'll need 2. Yeah. So there's plenty brass, plenty whatever. Okay, so now we'll be making spectacles. And then what's this? 1,000 is needed for biscuits. Now I've forgotten completely about biscuits. Oh man. She's got this guy. Okay.
I know every knot in every
We're heavily behind. I'd like to point out.
Cargo boat at the ready.
That's why I would like to have some, I suppose. Well,
A competitor's island is under siege.
holy smokes, there's just so many different things. Yeah, that's why I would like to progress with the game. However, it's not that easy. I really find this very, very
Ship
difficult.
under attack.
It's just look like they've got the gunpowders and ammunition, whatever, seems like level 1. So we're heavily behind. Okay, well, Alonso is not
Look at you
giving up.
swagger.
I don't know what he's attacking though. Is he attacking Big Betty? Yes, he is. Which is not shooting back. Okay, well, those fights are weird. Yeah, I'm not sure what we'll do. And I would love for the flag to finally
Taking the
show up.
initiative.
So I think what we're going to do,
Excellent.
guys, is I'll just upgrade as many as we can to artisans. Sorry, to engineers. We
A
can't.
future bright
We
and
can't
gay.
because there's no... Okay. So let me get that going. We should get some of it back. It's being drained really
Your ship
fast,
has
it
returned
seems.
from its voyage.
Yeah. Okay, hot air balloon.
Little
Because
boys,
if we have them here, though, I'd like to get them out and transfer them. Yeah, so maybe 200. Let's get them out, and I'll grab 100 of each of these. Okay, that'll be fine. Let's grab them to Crown Falls. That will allow us to get more
I'd
of
achieve
these guys,
more in a better habitat.
which we can do. I thought anyway. Okay. Let me see. We can't.
Life is
They're
like
lacking
seawater
sausages.
that only
Issues everywhere. And actually to a point where the population seems to be up and down all the time. But there you go. Right, so I will be constructing more. We don't really have too much.
always watches the horizon.
So what's the diplomacy at? Okay, it's at 49. I would like to give them, yeah, medium low. So that's not very good. Okay, for the moment, we're okay with the diplomacy, I think. Margaret is the only one. I would love for us to be able to upgrade, but we can't. I mean, I can definitely upgrade as many as I can of these. Oh, did you see that? For a second, it allowed me to upgrade to artisans. But yeah, once we have 200 more, we'll be okay. I just want to see what's going on, though. I mean, it can't be this bad. Okay, it is. So we're minus... We've only 2 textile factories. And that's because of the tannery. Okay. Yeah, those tanneries, guys. Holy smokes, that is crazy. They are here.
The people celebrate your leadership.
Yeah, by the time we'll get the other island going, it'll be forever. Honestly, it's not going to be easy. So that's why I'm kind of hoping to accumulate as much money as we can. Now, the good thing, I suppose, now is that we're getting the spectacles, which will give us a bit more of things. Saxophones, penny farthings. This is all going to deplete very soon, I'm sure. Where is that? Penny farthings, yeah, 56. So it's just a matter of time. Yeah. I mean, I could stop the electric cables production because they're really not needed, and it is 700 groschen. I was actually watching the Deliverance Kingdom, whatever, and yeah, it was really good. Anyway, that's cool. Guys, I think you can leave me here. I will try. I may start some production already on that island and then keep going. I also just realized that what we need on this island is electricity, right? So electricity will be generated by this thing. If I can ever find it. This thing here. So it'll affect the entire island. The only thing is, as you can see, it has to be somewhere pretty centrally located. So I'm not sure if this is the good spot, but we're gonna go with that.
Your harbor is under attack.
Meanwhile, the harbor is under attack. I just hope... Oh, man. Okay. Well, I hope that they'll be able to defend themselves. No, what we'll do quickly. Let's just be sure. Maybe from here.
Your island is under attack.
It's these guys. Yes, so they should run away. Hopefully. Yes. Okay, well, we live another day anyway. And we'll go from there, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope to see you in the next episode, okay? Take care of yourselves. Let me just copy this before they'll arrive anywhere else. And yeah, we'll see each other in the next one. Take care and stay hooked.